Let me say it straight in the very first second. You are not rare because of an online test. You are rare because you've begun a secret dialogue with your own shadow. If that line lands for you, you've probably sensed what Jung hinted at. There is a second life flowing beneath the surface one, a place where images, dreams, and nameless impulses quietly steer the way. Down there, extremely rare personality isn't a label, it's a trajectory. The path of turning inward, welcoming what's been exiled, and learning to stand between opposites without tearing yourself in two. Have you ever felt yourself change in silence? In a noisy room, you catch a different rhythm, the rhythm of symbol of intuition that sees through the event's surface. You choose to stay longer with the question instead of rushing to win the answer. You notice that anger, jealousy, and confusion aren't saboteurs, but messengers knocking at the door. Jung called this the shadow living energy that's been banished, waiting to come home. When you sit, breathe, and allow an image to appear, a damp forest, a narrow bridge, a waiting child, you're training a rare muscle, the capacity to let the unconscious speak. That's when life grows thicker, realer, as if each day mails you a sealed letter. Americans are urged to do more faster, but a different kind of rarity appears only when you dare to slow down. When you stop letting the persona, the I'm fine mask drive the car, and you begin to hear the invitation of the self, a still center, quiet as a dawn lake. The more you practice this, the less you're bossed around by rigid orders in your head. Jung would call those unloved animus patterns, the inner feminine in men, the inner masculine in women, switching roles into judge and jury. If you speak with them gently, they turn protector, handing you a shield called boundaries and an arrow called meaning. From here, rare isn't quirky for its own sake. Rare means living with orientation, quality, and intention. Then one day you realize you can hold tension of opposites without rushing to pick a side, soft and strong reason, and feeling order and chaos. You tolerate the gray long enough that a third way appears, not forced, but crystallized by symbol. That's the transcendent function Jung described when two rivers meet and don't annihilate each other. They make an estuary where the silt of meaning is born. From there, you stop managing your image so much. You tend to vitality instead, even when it costs you. You choose work for long meaning over short applause. You offer a clean no to protect a deeper yes. You serve something larger than the ego, family, community, art, or a quiet work only you understand. If you saw yourself in these lines, you're entitled to hope, not fuzzy hope, but disciplined hope, one step a day, one image a day, one boundary placed in the right spot a day. Because extremely rare personality doesn't fall from the sky, it's woven from the smallest choices, repeated until they become the soul's habits. And it's precisely there that life returns to you full and trustworthy. In the next section, we'll go straight to 8 concrete signs, subtle but clear indicators. You're on this path from inward-facing intuition and a rich dream life to a mature relationship with shadow and animus/animus to the capacity to hold paradox and let symbol lead. Stay with me. I'll give you a gentle self-assessment and a small practice to pry the inner door open a little wider today. When the outer world grows noisy, a few rare individuals quietly turn the compass inward. Not because they are shy or trying to escape life, but because they've discovered a steady source of energy beneath the surface of events. This is the first sign of what Jung might call an exceptionally rare personality, the inwardly oriented type. You could be working in a bustling open office in New York, surrounded by espresso machines and clacking keyboards, and still find that your real recovery happens only when you step onto the balcony, gaze at the treetops, and allow a brief silence to wash over you. In that moment, you sense a deeper order, one more subtle than any KPI chart, an inner rhythm quietly reshaping the fragmented parts of your life. Like the ocean adjusting its currents beneath the frothing waves, your inner world begins to realign itself. This inner orientation isn't antisocial. It's a form of psychological hygiene. As Jung often noted, the outer world must be balanced by an inner anchor, a place where thoughts are not meant to win or lose, but to help you find your own inner sense of truth. You might see yourself in very American moments, celebrating your best friend's birthday at a loud bar, laughing, raising a glass, but then quietly stepping aside to the window just to take 3 deep breaths. Or in a Monday meeting while others argue over numbers, you're the one who calmly asks, what kind of feeling do we actually want to create for our customers? That question didn't come from a presentation tip. It emerged from a still place within. That's the second sign: symbolic intuition. You don't just think in concepts, you think in images. Rather than listing 10 bullet points about a rough day, you say, "It felt like a rope was tightening around my chest." That image isn't just poetic, it's functional. It connects you to your body, offering a clue for the next step. Relax, loosen the rope, make space. Symbolic intuition isn't prophecy. It's a sense for unspoken connections. Faced with a big career decision, stay in a stable job, or leap into a risky new venture, you might not get a verbal answer. Instead, two images appear: a wide sunlit highway and a shaded forest path with the sound of running water. Neither is right, but both speak a truth deeper than logic. Dreams are letters sent at night, sealed not with words, but with images. When you begin to live with your dreams, you open a rare door, a passage that leads you away from the surface layers of life: meetings, bills, notifications, into the depths where the soul speaks in symbols. We Americans are good at optimizing and measuring, but what makes a truly rare personality in the Jungian sense is not speed or achievement. It is the willingness to pause before an image and ask, "What do you want me to know?" Here, wisdom is no longer acceleration. It is the art of listening. Dreams are private councils where consciousness and the unconscious meet, and this privilege appears only when we give them room to speak. Picture a morning in Seattle. You start the coffee maker, open your email. Yet something pulls you back to bed, a fragment of dream still warm. Rush too quickly and it slips away. Sit quietly for 2 minutes and it returns. A long hallway, a turquoise door, a feeling both anxious and serene. You write: long hallway, turquoise door, anxious, peaceful. I place my hand on the handle. 4 lines and already a map. In Jung's gentle approach, you don't rush to interpret. Instead, you amplify the images. Turquoise recalls the sea calmness. The hallway suggests transition. The door, a threshold. Then comes the soft question: what small act today could honor this image? Perhaps stepping outside for 10 minutes, opening a window earlier than usual, or clearing a path in a crowded room. When a symbol is honored with a simple bodily gesture, it no longer pounds at your door at night. It smiles, sits beside you, and walks with you as a companion. Let me share the story of Lena, a product designer in San Francisco. For a week, she dreamed of a kitchen flooded ankle deep, where she wiped endlessly with a small towel that never dried. She called it the hopeless dream. We did not mystify it. Instead, we practiced something simple. Each morning, she noted 3 images: kitchen water towel, 1 feeling helplessness, and 1 action wiping. Then she amplified the kitchen as the heart of the home water, as emotion, the small towel as an inadequate effort. No grand conclusions were needed. Only one question: if this were me, what would I do differently today? When you live long enough with your dreams and inner images, a new door begins to open: the shadow. To Jung, the shadow is not an enemy to be destroyed, but life itself in exile. It holds the energies, talents, desires we once locked away just to fit into the mold. The price: fragility. The more we cling to being nice through our persona, the louder the exiled parts demand to be heard. The shadow doesn't speak in philosophy. It knocks through the everyday. You get unreasonably irritated when a coworker shows off. Pause. Is there a forgotten desire, maybe your own wish to be seen and acknowledged, tapping on your chest? Someone's laziness annoys you. Maybe your own body has been begging for rest and logic has denied it for too long. The shadow is not evil, it's a signal. Whenever your emotions feel out of proportion, suspect projection. What part of yourself are you watching play out on someone else's stage? A very American scene Monday morning on Highway 101. Jack is cut off by another driver. Rage surges. He honks, mutters. At the office, everything irritates him. At lunch, he remembers last night's dream: a black dog left out on the porch staring through the glass. He sits down, places a hand on his heart, and asks in the spirit of Jung, what part of myself did I just project? The answer comes like breath all week. He's been ignoring his need for boundaries. That other car only triggered a full reservoir. So he sends a short email, moves a ridiculous deadline, and half the anger lifts. When the shadow is named, it no longer directs the play from behind the curtain. It steps into its rightful role, a blunt, sometimes grumpy, but loyal consultant. To work with the shadow, safely try the 3-step deprojection ritual. Pause and take 3 deep breaths when emotion spikes. Ask, What am I blaming this person for that maybe I too carry at least five? Make one small move to reclaim that energy. Say a clean, no set a time boundary, or exit a drama that isn't yours. Practice it often enough, and something rare begins to grow the courage to take responsibility for your inner world. Less drama pulls you. Less neediness leaks from you. No one's perfect at this. You don't have to be, just honest. From the shadow we enter the most misunderstood inner pair, but also the key to depth, anima and animus. Forget the gender debates for now. In Jung's voice, anima is the inner feminine principle, feeling, connecting, nourishing, symbolic. Animus is the inner masculine, defining, expressing, acting, setting boundaries. Unacknowledged, they turn extreme. Anima becomes overly dreamy, emotional, indecisive. Animus turns rigid, judgmental, obsessed with should. When met and respected, they become allies. Anima offers depth, animus gives form, and out of this sacred marriage, the rare personality begins to bloom. Imagine a night in Boston. Maria drafts an email to decline a collaboration. A courtroom of voices erupts in her mind. Don't disappoint people. What if you miss out? You're being selfish. She remembers a practice, filter the voices of animus less your anima. She closes her eyes for 90 seconds, inviting both principles to speak like characters. Anima whispers warmly, your body is tired, your heart needs space. Animus, now kindly invited, says clearly, write 3 polite, honest lines, offer to revisit later. She opens her eyes, writes the email, hits send, then walks for 10 minutes. No one dies. No project collapses. What collapses is the illusion that she must please everyone. When connected, animus doesn't criticize, it protects. And sometimes the reverse happens. In Chicago, a manager named Tom has an overbearing animus, domineering, allergic to softness. His team is worn out, his wife silent. In a short, active imagination session, Tom invites an image of anima. A small garden appears, dry soil, a few struggling flowers. He asks, what do you want? The answer is simple, water and time. So he does something irrational by old standards, adds 10 minutes of listening to each meeting. He asks open questions instead of rushing to closure. At home, he learns to say, I'm listening. Tell me what matters most. Anima doesn't weaken him. It teaches him how to show up. When the inner couple reconciles, the outer self softens without losing strength and endures with grace. So how do you notice anima/animus in everyday life? Look for 3 signs. Absolute voices in your mind, always, never, often, and unheard animus. Emotional fog that repeats a sad loop, anima, calling you to pause and translate feelings into small acts. Boundary fatigue, constantly overwhelmed, means your inner pair needs clearer roles. Who protects, who nourishes, and when. Try a 7-minute ritual. 3 minutes, write out the harsh voice. 3 minutes, write the caring voice that replies. 1 minute, choose a small action, cancel a commitment schedule, 30 minutes of deep work, or just take a warm bath. Do it enough and you'll grow a psychological sturdiness rarer than any degree. And here's something our community can do together. In the comments, write one judging voice that's echoed in your head and the gentle reply you'd like to offer yourself. Example, you're too weak. I'm tired because I've tried too hard. Resting 20 minutes is a kind choice that helps me continue. Or just comment inner truths to signal that tonight you'll spend 7 minutes writing a peace treaty between your own anima and animus. When we speak, we hand each other courage to step away from extremes and into a livable middle. One common myth working with the shadow or inner pair makes you soft or less competitive. But the truth is the opposite. When you stop wasting energy on projection and self-attack, you gain strength for aligned action. You become clear without being harsh, warm without being lost, decisive without causing harm. You don't run from conflict, you learn how to dialogue. And that brings us to signs 5 and 6 of the rare personality. You know how to deproject, and you have a conscious relationship with your anima and animus. These 2 skills make you safe for your team, your family, and most of all for your own heart. Of course, you'll stumble, you'll blame, you'll judge, you'll dream of locked rooms again. That's okay. This isn't therapy. It's soul education, not a moral contest. Every time you notice, you return. Let life be your teacher. When triggered, let it be the school bell for the soul. When tired, let a professional walk beside you. The goal isn't sainthood, it's humanity. The kind that can love without losing oneself. The kind that speaks truth without shaming others. And from here, if you're paying attention, another ability emerges, a very Jungian one, holding the tension of opposites until the transcendent function gives birth to a third path. You don't rush to pick black or white, you hold both, and a new symbol begins to crystallize. That's the terrain of the next chapter, how to not be torn between logic and feeling freedom, and commitment, order, and creativity, but instead let them meet and create something meaningful like a river meeting the sea. If you've walked with me this far, don't close the tab just yet. In part 4, we'll practice how to hold without tightening a paradoxical habit that becomes the secret of a resilient soul, where difficult choices become clear, like a shoreline emerging after the tide withdraws. And as always, let your comment be the red thread that connects us all, because the sentence you write tonight may be the lighthouse someone else was waiting for across the continent. There are moments when life sets you between two banks and both are true. You love your work and your family. You crave freedom and commitment. You need discipline and creativity. Most of us rush to pick one bank just to relieve the tension. But what Jung called a rare personality grows somewhere else in the capacity to hold the tension of opposites long enough for a third thing, a symbol, a new perspective, a small but right step to emerge on its own. Jung named this movement the transcendent function. It is not a half-hearted compromise. It is the birth of a new quality where both banks are honored. What seems like contradiction is actually deeply practical. A bridge can only stand if both sides are firmly anchored. Picture an evening in Portland. Elena, a high school teacher, is invited to lead a major education project. She feels excitement, aspiration, and fear time away from her child. A quick yes would exhaust her. A quick no would leave regret. So she sits hand on her heart and names the two poles freedom commitment. She lets her body speak, her right shoulder, tight responsibility, her belly, warm joy. She doesn't force a conclusion, she simply breathes there. After 5 minutes, an image arises. A twin-sailed boat sails pulling in opposite directions, yet the vessel moves forward because of a mast in the middle. What is Elena's mast? She writes one condition: if the school grants her one afternoon off weekly to pick up her child, she will accept. The third way denies neither pole, it raises a mast. That is the essence of the transcendent function symbol, the mast ripening into a livable policy. In Jung's alchemical language, we are shaping a vessel, a container strong enough to endure paradox. The stage of Negredo black is confusion and fog. Albedo white is cleansing, seeing more clearly. Rubedo red is when life returns warm and full. You don't need the terms, you've lived them. When suspended between two banks, don't rush to paint it positive. Accept a bit of Negredo, admit I don't know yet. That honesty is the fire that cooks the vessel so something new can be born. An Austin founder confessed he was always trapped between speed and quality. If he chose speed, the product broke. If he chose quality, the team burned out. He tried a simple vessel in daily life, 90 seconds of doing nothing before any big decision. In those 90 seconds, he wrote 2 columns, speed, quality, and added a row for resources. By second 70, a third way appeared: reduced scope. Not more hours, not lowered standards, just fewer features. The product shipped on time with fewer bugs, and the team could breathe. Left bank and right bank both respected because a bridge named Scope appeared. That bridge didn't fall from the sky. It was forged in the 90-second fire. You can try this in your Ohio kitchen. When your child needs a hug's softness, but also bedtime discipline, you usually pick one and feel guilty for the other. Tonight, pause 30 seconds, hand on their back, and say slowly, I hear you. I'll hug you for 2 more minutes. Then we'll brush teeth. 2 minutes is the bridge. The child feels seen. The routine still holds. You didn't betray either pole. You modeled the art of living in between where love takes form. Some worry, does holding paradox make me weak? Quite the opposite. This capacity trains a spiritual muscle that prevents impulsive reactions. In Chicago, a sales manager was stuck between demand and compassion for a struggling employee. Every time he pushed KPI, he felt guilty. Every time he softened, the team suffered. He tried a 7-minute vessel. 1. Name the 2 poles. 2. Write the legitimate essence of each demand, equals clarity, compassion, equals care. 3. Ask what action owes both clarity and care. The answer, a 20-minute structured conversation. 5 minutes asking about life, care. 10 minutes setting one concrete weekly goal. Clarity, 5 minutes committing support. After 3 weeks, performance improved. The relationship stayed whole. When you honor the essence of both banks, the other feels a justice that every heart longs for. In Jung's imagery, the symbol often takes the shape of a circle to show you're near the center. It's no accident that mandala circles with a center arise when people learn to hold paradox. You don't need to draw well. Just 1 minute of morning mandala, sketch a small circle, write the two poles on opposite edges, e.g., safety and adventure, and at the center, write today's guiding word, e.g., rhythm. Throughout the day, you'll act by rhythm, a call to a mentor, before a risky move, a short trip instead of a long one, a trial within safe ground before a big leap. A mandala isn't a charm, it's a subtle map reminding you the goal is a livable center, not victory for one side. Even your body offers data. Stay too long at one pole and symptoms appear. Too rigid discipline without rest, tight back, stiff neck. Too loose freedom without frame, foggy head, heavy belly. Let your body join the vessel, walk 5 minutes when the head feels heavy. Ground yourself with steady movements, pressing feet, bracing hands when drifting. In life's lab, symbols need the body to crystallize. We don't just think the transcendent function, we live it in small acts. One story from Los Angeles. Ava, a freelance artist, loved painting but hated accounting. Her pole's creativity order? She tried shifting her inner language from or to, and today I paint and do bookkeeping. A third way appeared, the 25-25-5 ritual. 25 minutes painting, 25 minutes bookkeeping, 5 minutes closing. Ritual: blow out a candle, put books away. After 5 days, she no longer felt she betrayed art by touching spreadsheets, nor guilty painting with bills unpaid. The language of and is the shortest bridge across. Try rewriting one of your or sentences right now. Notice how your heart exhales. I invite you to build this muscle with our community. In the comments, write down the two poles you're holding this week, e.g., rest, dedication, invest, safety, along with one small third action you'll try in the next 48 hours, e.g., sleep by 11 p.m. and send 2 key emails by 9 a.m. Invest a small sum after reading one report. Add the phrase small bridge so we can find each other. When you speak it aloud, you are doing what the transcendent function requires, publicly honoring both banks, then laying down a plank you can step on. Still, some days the vessel cracks. You lose patience and choose the easy extreme. Forget it, just do it. Or, never mind, drop it, then comes regret. Don't condemn yourself. A cracked vessel is information. Maybe the heat was too high, you need rest, or the vessel too small. You need tool support or time. Remember, this is educational content, not therapy. When paradox touches deep pain, let a professional help you reinforce the vessel. Living with paradox teaches a strange but familiar ethic, the ethic of wholeness. You stop living to win arguments. You live to stay loyal to what's true. A loyalty not extreme because you know the heart has many rooms. Here, the 7th of 8 signs shines the ability to stay with opposing tensions until a new path opens, not forced but symbol-led. And when it ripens, you hear another call, gentle yet firm, inviting you to live under the guidance of the self, the deep, quiet center that places meaning above appearances. That is the territory of what comes next. If at this point you feel your heart a little calmer, a little brighter, stay with me. In part 5, we will bring everything into daily life, how to live from the self without becoming esoteric, how to set boundaries that stay warm, how to align work, love, and creativity into an inner order as steady as a mandala's circle. I'll share with you a 7-minute morning ritual and one personal declaration, short enough to remember, strong enough to live by. Before we continue, leave in the comments the 2 poles you're holding and the small bridge you'll try. Who knows, your plank tonight may be the bridge someone else walks tomorrow. If you've stood between the 2 shores long enough, a gentle, steady call rises from the center. Let the self lead instead of the persona. The persona deserves respect. It's the jacket we wear to walk outside, greet neighbors, present in class. But when a jacket turns into skin, we can't breathe. Living from the self doesn't mean tossing the jacket. It means wearing it at the right time while the heart keeps rhythm with what truly matters. You'll feel less intoxicated by image management, less driven by slogans about who you must be, and more inclined to ask, today, what is true for my soul, even if it's quiet, even if it's not showy. This shift rarely comes with fireworks. It's light like choosing to leave a pointless argument, solid like the body's release after you speak one honest sentence. In Jersey City, Sam, a legal associate, used to burn out trying to look invincible. The turning point came on a completely ordinary morning. His reflex was to open email immediately, but he remembered the small mandala he'd sketched the night before with the word depth in the center. He sat upright, inhaled 4 counts, exhaled 4, placed a hand to his chest. If myself chose the first move of the day, what would it be? The answer arrived clean, one right thing before all the noise. He drafted a short email. No flourish, no defensiveness to a difficult client, set a clear boundary on scope. No applause, but something in his back exhaled. When you live from the self, the body is the witness. In Santa Fe, Nora, an acupuncturist, had been indulging the pretty, visible stuff on social media more than the quiet work that heals. One night, she dreamed she stood at an old well. The water was clear, but she kept drawing it up only to pour it out. In the morning, she wrote 3 words well: water, waste. She sat 2 more minutes and asked the symbol, "What do you want me to know?" Warmth bloomed in her belly. Let the water be drunk. That day, she canceled an unnecessary promo shoot and spent 2 hours revisiting care plans for 3 complex patients. Did anyone notice? Not many. But that afternoon, a patient slept through the night for the first time in months. The self doesn't despise form. It simply won't let form replace substance. So how do you live from the self inside busy American life, back-to-back meetings and ads, telling you to become the best version of someone else? Start with a 7-minute morning ritual, small, real, doable. Minute 1, no phone. Sit at the edge of the bed or place bare feet on the floor. Let slow breathing bring you back to the weight of your body. Minute 2, draw a small circle in your notebook. In the center, write 1 keyword that arises for the day: rhythm. Clear, gentle, brave. Minutes 3 to 4. Face the 2 shores you're holding today, say childcare and a deadline. Let the symbol suggest a 3rd tiny action that honors both. Drop the kids off 10 minutes early so you can outline the draft in the car. Minute 5, shake hands with the shadow. Where am I easily triggered today, and what clean move will I make when it hits a short? No 1 breath, 1 step into sunlight. Minute 6, invite anima and animus to speak 1 sentence each. Anima to care for life, animus to draw the line, then merge them into 1 directive. Be clear with kindness. Minute 7, stand, drop your shoulders, lower your voice by half a tone, and speak a 7 to 9 word declaration. Depth before noise. 1 right thing today. The ritual ends when your feet meet the floor. The day begins like a pact. You don't need to be perfect. Some days you'll forget the notebook. Some days the words won't land. That's okay. Living from the self is choosing kind repetition, not aggressive self-overhaul. The self grows like muscle, slow, steady, sure. Soon, big decisions feel strangely lighter. A no no longer foams at the mouth. A yes no longer shows off. Boundaries stop being barbed wire and become a warm, firm shoreline where everyone knows where they stand. From here, a subtle ethic emerges. Jung called it the ethic of integrity. You stop asking, what helps my image, and start asking, what is faithful to what's deepest? A Seattle engineer told me he quit trying to score points in stand-up. Before the meeting, he made 1 high-quality commit and added a plain note owning the hard part. He looked less slick, but the team trusted him more, and unexpectedly, his voice carried more weight. Integrity isn't a medal, it's an operating system. When you stop acting a part, that energy returns to power, real action. Living from the self also means serving something larger than ego without erasing yourself. In Minneapolis, a small cafe owner decided to close early on Fridays to volunteer teaching English to immigrants. Revenue dipped a little, meaning rose a lot. Oddly, the next week the cafe was busier. Maybe clear energy calls in the right people, he said. Meaning doesn't always bring money fast, but it brings durability and a peace that tucks you into bed. In San Diego, a single mom dreamt of a tangled garden and turned her backyard into a shared herb plot for neighbors. She didn't save the world. She answered an image with concrete action. That's enough. The self doesn't demand greatness. It invites truth and usefulness. Now it's your turn. Right below this video, plant a small seed for our community. Write a 7 to 9 word weekly declaration. 1 short line you'll speak each morning to bring yourself back to center. Examples: clear and gentle, 1 true step, or depth before noise. Listen, then speak. If you don't want to write more, just type living from self to signal you are beginning the 7-minute ritual. When you say it out loud, you don't just bind your own words. You hand a red thread to a stranger on the other side of the screen. Don't worry if people around you don't get it. Living from the self often looks ordinary. You still go to work, cook dinner, laugh at small gatherings. It's just that at some point people notice you're in tune like an instrument freshly tuned. And once the strings are right, you can hear when one note drifts. Instead of frantically fixing, you place a hand on the wood and let silence tell you which peg to turn. This is the art of the rare person, not running around, putting out fires, but repairing from the center outward. One reminder is always, this is educational, not a substitute for therapy. If symbols stir old pain, find a trustworthy professional to hold your hand through the hard miles. Rarity doesn't come from enduring alone. It grows by being witnessed and supported. And now that you've touched all 5 layers, inner orientation and symbolic intuition, dreams and dialogue with images, shadow work in the anima/animus pair, the capacity to hold paradox so a third way can be born, and the ethic of integrity under the self's guidance, you hold in your hands 8 signs of a rare Jungian orbit. Some videos close like a door, but I hope this ending opens a small path you can carry with you each day. If during this journey you felt yourself settle and brighten by even half a beat, it's not because I said something lofty, but because a deeper part of you, what Jung called the self, was nodding in agreement. We've walked through 8 signs of a rare orbit, turning the compass inward, listening to intuition through images, recording and respecting dreams as letters of the night, daring to dialogue with images through active imagination, learning to meet the shadow and reclaim projections, inviting anima and animus down from the judge's bench to stand as allies, holding paradox until a third thing is born, and finally letting the self lead into an ethic of wholeness, clear yet gentle, decisive without being rigid. But let me say this slowly, rare is not a label, it is a habit. No one hands you a medal for it. It's woven from faithful small movements, 3 breaths before replying, 1 image recorded in your journal, 1 boundary set cleanly, 1 no. That protects a deeper yes. Repeat long enough and the energy once wasted on defense and performance flows back into real work. You don't need to be loud to be strong. You don't need to be perfect to be trustworthy. Life takes on the stability of a circle with a center. Storms may blow, but the outline holds. If you'd like to carry a symbolic pebble in your pocket, here's a simple 7-minute morning ritual. Sit upright, choose 1 keyword for the day, rhythm clear, gentle brave. Write down the 2 poles you are holding. Ask the symbol for a small, possible third action. Make a short pact with the shadow. When I'm triggered, how will I respond kindly? Invite anima and animus each to speak 1 sentence. Then end with a 7 to 9 word declaration. Depth before noise. 1 right act today. Close the notebook, stand up, and let your body guard what you just promised. This isn't mystical. It's the soft discipline of a life with center. And remember, this is educational, not a replacement for therapy. If a dream or image touches deep pain, let a professional walk with you. Rarity does not grow from isolation. It grows from being witnessed. We can be that vessel for each other. In the comments, leave 3 things. 1, the number among the 8 signs that resonated with you most today. 2, a recent image from dream or waking life. And 1 small action you will take to honor it. To 3, a 7 to 9 word declaration for your week. If you're unsure, simply write living from the self. That alone is a gentle promise. You may ask, and then what? Then life stays the same, kitchens to clean, emails to send, traffic jams. But you are different. You're no longer dragged by noise projections or nameless shoulds. You begin to choose by the rhythm of your center. You'll be surprised at how heavy decisions grow lighter because they fit in inner order. And those around you, though they may not name it, will feel your presence becoming thicker, warmer. That's the quiet sign you're walking home. I know in America's culture of speed and efficiency, talk of symbols, dreams, and shadow can sound like a luxury. But perhaps it's because we're so fast that we need a place to slow down. Symbols don't block progress. They guide progress in the right direction. 1 less defensive email can save a week. 1 early boundary can save a relationship. 1 respected dream can bend a career path toward meaning. Small shifts, but real, and because they're real, they last. If this video spoke to you, I invite you to stay. Subscribe to receive a piece of the Jungian map each week. How to read a difficult dream, how to work with the shadow in relationships, how to seat anima and animus at the same table. Hit like. If it feels right not to feed an algorithm, but to help this message find someone who needs a red thread tonight. And don't hesitate to share this with a friend standing at a crossroads. Maybe one image here becomes their small bridge. Before you go, pause and ask, what is one right step I can take in the next 10 minutes to honor my deepest part? Call the person you've avoided. Write a boundary email. Walk in the sun, or simply sit still for 3 minutes, hand on chest, listening. We don't need to do much to be rare. We need to do what is true for the soul, repeated, gentle, patient. I'll meet you in the next video where we'll go deeper still, learning to read the letters of the night and turn them into daily action. Until then, carry this reminder with you like a soft thread, depth before noise. One right act today.